let's talk a little bit about what we would do when the equation looks like this. We've done a couple of these already in our openers, where we have the variable on two different sides. All right, so this is example 1. Go ahead and write this on your notes for example 1. And I'm going to do this problem two different ways. I don't want you to solve this one yet. I'm going to do it two different ways, and I want you to decide which way works out better, and we'll talk about why. Okay? So the first way, let's get rid of the 4a. So remember, when we have the variable on two different sides, we're going to have to get rid of it on one side. All right, so Nate, if we want to get rid of the 4a, what would we do? Okay, and since we want to get rid of the 4a, what would we subtract? 4. Yeah, so we'll subtract 4a, and if we subtract 4a on the left side, we'll have to subtract 4a on the right side, right? We're subtracting 4a from both sides. On the left side, Nate, what's going to happen to the 4a and the negative 4a? And what's left?
9.
Okay, good. And that's a positive 9, but we don't need the plus in front, right? Okay, and then what's a minus 4a? So this is a is the same thing as 1a, right? So 1a minus 4a. It's going to be negative 3a, right? So 1 minus 4 is negative 3? I thought you said negative 1.
I said negative 3.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you said negative 1. All right, so we've got negative 3a here. And Nate, what do I do with the negative 6?
Bring it down.
Bring it down. All right, Alicia, at this point, we need to get the a by itself. So what do we do next?
Add 6 to both sides.
Okay, good. So we'll add 6 to both sides. And when we do that, Alicia, well, what do we get over here? 9 plus 6 is?
15, I think.
You are correct. And over here on the right side, the 6's cancel, so what's left? Okay. Then, what do we need to do? Robbie? By? Not quite. That's not going to do it because we'll get rid of the 3, but we won't get rid of the negative. So we want to divide by negative 3. Good. So we'll divide both sides by negative 3. And when we do that, what do we have left on the left side? 15 divided by negative 3. Nope. Negative 5. And on the right side, the negative 3 and negative 3's cancel. What's left? A. Okay. Everybody okay with that? Now, let's do the same thing on the other side, except instead of getting rid of the 4a, we're going to get rid of the 1a. Oops. So, to get rid of the 1a, I'll subtract 1a from both sides. And 4a minus 1a is 3a, right? What do I do with that plus 9? Bring it down. 1a minus 1a is, well, that's gone, right? And then negative 6 here. Then, to get the a by itself, we subtract 9. 9's cancel. 3a equals negative 15. Then we divide by positive 3 on both sides. And the 3's cancel. We get a equals, what's negative 15 divided by 3? Negative 5. It looks a little bit different because the a's on the right side with the first one, it's on the left side with the second one. But that's the same answer, right? So we get a equals negative 5 whichever way we do it. Now, I want you to look at this step right here. This step is different because I had to divide by -3 in this problem and by +3 in this one. Which one would you rather divide by, a positive or a negative? I would rather divide by a positive. So let me ask this. Why did the 3a end up positive here, but it ended up negative here?
The nut, wait.
You started because you reversed it to the spot. Yeah.
So looking at these two different ways of doing it, when we subtract the bigger number, we have to divide by a negative. When we subtract the smaller number, we get to divide by a positive. So by subtracting the smaller number, we'll always get to divide by a positive number. And that's going to make things a little bit easier on us. Remember what I said in the opener, a lot of people were having trouble with the signs. So if you make sure that you're dividing by a positive all the time, that's going to help you out a little bit with the signs. So here are the steps that we're going to take. And this is the same thing that we did on Monday, where we're solving equations with variables in more than one place. But the difference here is that the variables are on different sides of the equal sign, right? So the first step is actually going to be exactly the same as the one we did on Monday. Simplify each side of the equation. So the two things we're going to do to simplify each side of the equation are distribute and combine like terms. Yep. It is just like the other one. This is exactly the same as the first step for the other kind.
I just said that.
These equations are going to look a little bit different now, because now instead of having variables on the same side of the equal sign, we're going to have variables on different sides. So the next step is going to be different. The next step, we're going to have to get the variable on one side. So we're going to get the variable on one side of the equation. And to do that, we're going to get rid of the smaller variable. Remember, we did it both ways, and both ways give us the right answer. But when we got rid of the smaller variable, that's the one where we got to divide by the positive number. So we're going to get the variables on one side, and I'm going to use this term, pick on the little guy. Have you guys heard that before?
Yeah.
Pick on the little guy.
It only has to do with math, though. It doesn't have to do with anything else. So we're going to pick on the little guy, and what that means is we're going to get rid of the smaller variable. So by getting rid of the smaller variable, we're going to end up with a positive coefficient, a positive number in front of the variable. All right, and then once we get the variables on one side of the equation, it's going to be an equation that we already know how to solve. So we're just going to solve as usual at that point. So we'll have to, once we get the variable on one side, we have to get it by itself. So usually we'll have to add or subtract something, and usually we'll have to divide by something at that point. So let's keep all these steps in mind. You've got them written on your paper here, and let's do another equation. Let's solve for another one. So to solve for b here, I'll go ahead and write it down first. So just like all of the other equations we've done, we'll start by doing what? Circle the variable and draw the line. And just like the last type of equation we did, the first step here is going to be simplify each side. So we're going to start that by distributing. What is 2 times b? 2b. What is 2 times -5? -10. And that's going to be equal to 7b. Okay, now, do I need to combine like terms here? Can I combine the 2b and the 7b? Okay, so I can't combine those. So I'm done with step 1. Step 2 says get the variables on one side. So I have to get rid of one of these. Which one do I want to get rid of, the 2b or the 7b? Why? It's smaller. So we're going to pick on the little guy here, right? So 2b is smaller. So what I'm going to do to get rid of that 2b is subtract 2b. Remember, to get rid of one of these, we're going to either add or subtract. In this case, we want to subtract it because it's positive. And when we do that, the 2b's cancel each other out, and what's left on the left side? -10. Don't forget that negative. It's really important. And on the right side, 7b minus 2b is 5b. And then, to get the b by itself, we solve as usual. Divide by 5. 5's cancel each other out on the right side, and b's left by itself over there. Negative 10 divided by positive 5 is negative 2.